As we approach January, certain grocery items are expected to skyrocket in price, and it's not just due to inflation. Economic changes, unpredictable climate events, and unexpected market disruptions are all creating the perfect storm for some everyday products to become even harder on your budget. We've done the research and identified 8 essential items that are projected to see significant price hikes in the coming month. From pantry staples to fresh produce, these price surges could catch you off guard if you're unprepared. But don't worry, by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to expect and why this is happening. Stay tuned as we break down how these economic, environmental, and global factors are shaping the grocery market, plus some tips to possibly save money while stocking up wisely. Get ready, it's time to see the must-know list of items that might hit your wallet harder than usual this January. 1. Coffee, a morning ritual under pressure. Did you know your daily cup of coffee might soon cost you more than you expect? The global coffee market is currently facing unprecedented challenges, and these issues are driving prices to jaw-dropping levels. If you're a coffee lover, brace yourself, your favorite morning brew might just become one of the most expensive parts of your grocery bill this January. But what's causing this spike in coffee prices, and why does it seem like there's no end in sight? It all starts with Brazil, the world's largest coffee producer. Severe drought conditions, worsened by climate change, have hit Brazil hard, ravaging coffee crops and leading to drastically lower yields. Arabica coffee, the variety most beloved for its smooth and rich flavors, has been especially affected. Prices for Arabica coffee futures have skyrocketed to around $3.23 per pound, levels not seen since 1977. On top of that, supply woes are spreading to Robusta coffee, which is often used in instant coffee and espresso blends. Bad weather in both Vietnam and Indonesia, 2 major Robusta producers, has caused prices to soar, with futures reaching a staggering $5,829 per metric ton. Much of the blame lies with the El Niño weather pattern, which continues to disrupt harvests globally and push supplies to critical lows. But wait, the story doesn't end there. Compounding the problem are new regulations in Europe. The European Union is introducing strict deforestation laws targeting imported goods, including coffee. Under these new rules, European importers must provide evidence showing that their coffee isn't linked to deforestation activities. While good for the environment, this requirement is causing major disruptions in the coffee supply chain. Producers and exporters now need additional certifications, which is slowing down shipments and driving up costs. European buyers are scrambling to secure their supplies before the rules take full effect, adding even more pressure to an already strained market. Meanwhile, coffee prices are hitting Americans where it hurts most, their wallets. The USDA has predicted a 1.6% increase in food-at-home costs over the next year, and coffee is no exception. Cafes, retailers, and even grocery stores are being forced to pass these rising costs on to consumers. Your favorite latte or cold brew may soon cost more than you've been used to, and those price hikes are here to stay for the foreseeable future. Even as new coffee supplies enter the market down the road, industry analysts warn that global supply chain disruptions and changing regulations will likely maintain historically high price levels. If you're trying to stretch your grocery budget in January, it might be time to rethink your daily coffee routine. Stocking up on beans now or looking for alternative options could help you save a few bucks during this rapid climb in prices. With coffee prices heavily influenced by unpredictable climatic events, geopolitical dynamics, and shifting market trends, this is one staple you'll want to keep a close eye on. Who knows? Your morning cup of joe might just turn into a luxury item by the time 2024 is in full swing. 2. Sugar, from sweet to scarce. Sugar, that essential ingredient found in everything from your morning coffee to your favorite desserts, is poised to become a hot commodity as we head into January. The global sugar market is grappling with severe challenges, and rising prices are just the tip of the iceberg. If you're someone with a sweet tooth or rely on sugar for everyday needs, brace yourself, this staple might just feel priceless very soon. India, the world's second-largest sugar producer, is at the center of this unfolding crisis. Recent reports highlight a dramatic 35% drop in sugar production across key agricultural hotspots like Maharashtra and Karnataka. Why? Delayed harvests and harsh weather conditions have thrown the country's sugar industry into disarray. And here's the kicker: India, which usually plays a vital role in balancing global sugar exports, is unlikely to set export quotas this season. This means one thing for the rest of the world: tighter sugar supplies. The ripple effect is already being felt, shaking up international markets that depend heavily on India's exports. But the challenges don't stop there. Take Cuba, for instance. Once a powerhouse in sugar production, Cuba's sugar industry is now in dire straits. A lack of access to critical resources like fuel, fertilizers, and modern machinery has pushed its output to unprecedented lows. Out of the few operational mills left, productivity is dwindling, leaving a glaring gap in the global sugar supply chain. This brings mounting pressure on other sugar-producing nations to pick up the slack. Brazil, the world's largest sugar exporter, is another major player feeling the heat quite literally. Devastating droughts paired with raging fires have wreaked havoc on the Central South region's harvests, driving sugar yields significantly lower than anticipated. The result? Prices in the sugar market have skyrocketed, with futures now trading above 22 cents per pound, a price point unseen in recent years. Now, while production wanes, demand continues to soar. Emerging markets are consuming sugar at record levels, resulting in a staggering global deficit of over 3 million metric tons this season. The United States, too, is not immune to this crisis. Sugar stockpiles across the country are depleting, leading the USDA to revise its sugar stock-to-use ratio downward. This signals some tough times ahead, as tighter supplies inevitably prompt price hikes. Retailers and manufacturers are already reacting, adjusting prices for raw sugar and sugar-based products. On the production end, weather remains an unpredictable and relentless adversary. Extreme droughts and heat waves are affecting the growth and quality of sugar crops globally. And here's an unfortunate truth: unlike many other commodities, sugar crops can take years to recover fully from these environmental stresses. This means the effects of today's extreme weather will be felt for a long time to come. The larger picture? A tangled web of rising global demand, shrinking yields, economic pressures, and regulatory changes is driving the sugar market into a prolonged state of volatility. For consumers, this means one thing: higher prices for sugar and anything that contains it. From sweeteners and syrups to sodas and baked goods, expect to pay a lot more for your favorite sugary treats. If sugar is a must-have on your grocery list, now's the time to plan ahead. With prices climbing and supply chains tightening, stocking up before January could help you save money and avoid the disappointment of finding empty shelves. This sweet staple could soon become a luxury, so keep your eye on the sugar section next time you're at the store. 3. Dairy products. The dairy aisle in grocery stores is already a staple for many shoppers, but come January, dairy products could become one of the most expensive categories on your receipt. The U.S. dairy industry is facing a whirlwind of challenges and changes, which could lead to skyrocketing prices for everyday essentials like milk, cheese, and butter. Why is this happening? It's a mix of economic shifts, global trade tensions, and surging demand that are creating the perfect storm for higher prices. First, let's look at dairy cows, an essential part of the chain. The average price for a dairy cow has spiked to around $2,500 per head as of mid-2024, compared to $1,900 just a year before. This increase could signal higher demand or deeper economic pressures impacting the industry. At the same time, the total number of dairy cows has dropped by 40,000 in the past year, indicating that smaller farms are consolidating or shutting down. This reduction in herds could potentially mean tighter milk supplies as 2024 closes and we head into 2025. Milk production itself is projected to hit 226.0 billion pounds in 2024, which might seem like a positive sign. But despite this slightly higher forecast, the profitability of dairy farmers is sinking. The all-milk price for 2024 was recently adjusted downward to $22.75 per 100 pounds. This means farmers won't necessarily see significant profits, even with higher production, due to stagnant or reduced pricing caused by outside factors like inventory levels and market pressure. Cheese lovers, prepare for some budget shocks. Cheese is expected to remain a hot item, thanks to its growing popularity in various cuisines and innovative trends. From 2024 to 2028, the cheese market is projected to expand by a whopping $38.8 billion. While this sounds like good news, it's a double-edged sword. Increased cheese production is leading processors to prioritize this over other products like butter, potentially straining supplies of non-cheese dairy goods. Even international dynamics are throwing wrenches into the equation. Import demand from countries like China and unpredictable corn and soybean harvest seasons are likely to create ripple effects across the industry. Butter is another pocketbook buster worth mentioning. prices have surged to an all-time high, even reaching $8,706 per metric ton in Europe, a jaw-dropping 83% increase since last year. While American butter prices aren't that extreme, they've been steadily climbing and are likely to stay elevated well into 2025. Bakery enthusiasts, keep an eye on your grocery receipts because even a small baking project might cost you significantly more in the coming months. Analysts predict these high butter prices might take months to stabilize. Adding to these challenges is the expiration of the U.S. Farm Bill in September 2024, which could lead to a dairy cliff. If Congress doesn't take timely legislative action, dairy prices in 2025 could hit unsustainable levels, affecting everyone from food producers to families who rely on government nutrition programs. Shoppers may face sticker shock at supermarkets or reduced access to essential food staples, emphasizing an urgent need for support for the dairy sector. Then there's the environmental angle. Methane emissions from agriculture represent 40% of all global methane emissions, with cattle farming being a significant contributor. With climate goals pushing for change, companies are being urged to adopt innovations like selective breeding and better herd management to curtail emissions. Major brands like Danone have started stepping up with ambitious climate reduction goals, while others are lagging behind. These efforts come as consumer demand continues to shift towards more sustainable products, including plant-based options. Speaking of plant-based products, companies like Starbucks are making waves by eliminating extra charges for alternative milks like oat and almond in US and Canada locations. This move aims to normalize plant-based milk choices and encourages sustainable consumption habits. It's also a shift that signals a broader trend, one that could reshape the dairy industry in the long term. The U.S. dairy market is still expected to grow, increasing from $107.08 billion in 2024 to $126.80 billion by 2029, at an annual growth rate of 3.44%. However, navigating this growth won't be easy. Fluctuating milk prices, limited supply, environmental regulations, and evolving consumer preferences all present challenges the industry must address. For grocery shoppers, this could mean paying more for staple dairy products in January. Whether it's milk, cheese, or butter, these everyday items might soon feel like luxury purchases. Make sure to keep a close eye on sales and stock up where you can. 4. The rising value of rice in the global market. When it comes to food security and staple ingredients, rice holds an irreplaceable spot on millions of dinner tables worldwide. But did you know that the global rice market is set to play an even more crucial role in 2024 and beyond? Projected to grow to a staggering $436.51 billion by 2029, rice is not just another crop, it's a lifeline for over half the world's population. With a compound annual growth rate CAGR of 3%, it's clear that rice isn't just a pantry essential, it's an economic power player. Over 120 countries grow rice, showcasing how geographically and culturally significant this crop truly is. Leading the global production are China and India, contributing a jaw-dropping 50% collectively. Let's break it down. China alone produces about 211.4 million metric tons, while India is close behind with 177.6 million tons. That's enough rice to fill millions of grain silos. Other prominent players like Indonesia, Bangladesh, Vietnam, and Thailand also contribute significantly to the market. However, despite such massive production, some countries still struggle to meet domestic demands, particularly in sub-Saharan Africa, which relies heavily on imports. The international rice trade is dynamic, shifting constantly based on domestic policies and global interaction. Take India, for instance, a leader in rice exports. To stay competitive and support its farmers, the country recently removed the floor price for non-basmati white rice exports. On the flip side, countries like Indonesia are ramping up efforts for self-reliance by expanding farmland. Indonesia is pushing ambitious plans to add 3 million hectares for rice cultivation, aiming to reduce dependence on imports and secure food self-sufficiency. But the story of rice doesn't end here. Advancements in technology and sustainability are redefining how rice is grown across the globe. Drought-resistant rice varieties, precision farming, and eco-friendly cultivation techniques are all gaining momentum, addressing critical challenges like water scarcity, climate change, and resource depletion. Such innovations are essential to ensure that rice production remains resilient and adaptable in uncertain environmental conditions. Consumer trends also play a massive role in shaping the future of rice. With evolving tastes, more people are seeking out aromatic and specialty rice varieties like basmati and jasmine. At the same time, there's a booming interest in organic and sustainably produced options. It's not just about feeding stomachs anymore, it's about meeting health-conscious and eco-aware preferences. Producers are responding to this demand, diversifying their offerings to cater to everything from traditional dishes to modern fusion cuisines. If you're a mindful shopper, you've probably noticed how rice pricing has been fluctuating, and this trend will likely spike in January. With increasing input costs, rising demand, and trade restrictions in some key exporting countries, rice prices can become a significant factor when planning your grocery haul. Whether you're stocking up on staples or exploring new rice varieties, understanding this global crop's impact on the market can help you stay ahead as a savvy buyer. Rice is more than a simple side dish, it's a staple intertwined with culture, economics, and survival. And as its demand grows, so does its importance in our lives. Be sure to keep an eye out for this food item. It might just be one of those grocery products that skyrockets in value this January. Number 5. Bread and wheat-based products. When we think of essentials we simply can't live without, few things top bread and wheat-based products. Yet, the wheat market, the backbone of these staples, is undergoing massive changes that could make these everyday items soar in price as January 2025 approaches. If you're keeping tabs on grocery costs, this is a key category to watch out for. Global wheat production has been impressive lately, with the Food and Agriculture Organization estimating a record-breaking output of 784.9 million metric tons for 2024. Sounds like good news, right? Well, not so fast. While production is at an all-time high, rising consumption demands are eating into those supplies faster than they're being replenished. The International Grains Council reports that the gap between wheat production and consumption is shrinking, raising red flags for potential shortages in regions where wheat demand is highest. Zooming in on the U.S. market, wheat futures have recently hovered at about 534.25 cents per bushel. While that might sound stable, this number reflects a delicate balancing act influenced by both local and international factors. Meanwhile, Europe, another critical player in the wheat market, is dealing with big challenges. Wheat output in the European Union is expected to fall by 9% compared to last year, totaling just 122.6 million metric tons. The culprit? Harsh weather conditions that have made farming more unpredictable than ever. This decline in a major wheat-producing region has ripple effects that stretch across the globe. Adding fuel to the fire, it's not just weather and production challenges pushing costs higher. Farmers are facing skyrocketing input expenses, from fertilizer and seeds to equipment and energy. These rising costs are being handed directly to consumers, meaning you could be shelling out more in the bread aisle soon. It's not just artisan loaves either. Pasta, crackers, and even that breakfast cereal you love could jump in price. And the challenges don't stop there. Policy changes in key wheat importing countries are further shaking up the market. Take Egypt, for example. Known as one of the world's largest wheat importers, Egypt recently raised the price of its subsidized bread by a staggering 300%. This wasn't an arbitrary decision. It's a reaction to growing economic pressures and rising subsidy costs. Moves like this send shockwaves through global food markets and highlight a sobering truth: affordability is a growing concern whether you live in a developed or developing nation. But what does this mean for you in 2025? The USDA is already predicting a 1.6% rise in food-at-home prices, impacting core staples like bread and wheat products. If these forecasts hold true, you can expect to see higher price tags on your grocery store shelves. On top of that, the geopolitical uncertainties that have plagued global trade aren't disappearing anytime soon. Complications ranging from export bans to trade tariffs can easily worsen the already fragile wheat market. What's clear is that bread and wheat-based products aren't just staples anymore, they're becoming almost as valuable as gold for your pantry. Whether it's classic sandwich bread, hearty pasta meals, or just a comforting bowl of cereal, these items might demand a bigger share of your grocery budget in the months ahead. Experts suggest stocking up on these essentials sooner rather than later. After all, no one wants to face the January shock unprepared. Number 6. Orange juice. Orange juice is a breakfast staple for millions around the world, but its future is looking increasingly expensive, and here's why. The orange juice market is grappling with some serious headwinds that are forcing prices to climb to all-time highs. From severe weather conditions to plant diseases, there's a cocktail of challenges squeezing the juice industry dry, literally. Let's start with Brazil, the global powerhouse of orange juice production. This South American nation produces more orange juice than anywhere else on the planet, but even the mighty Brazil isn't immune to crisis. The country is suffering through its smallest orange crop in an astonishing 35 years. Imagine production is down by a staggering 25%. Why? A severe drought, the worst seen in the region in over 5 decades, has left orange groves parched and production crippled. On top of this, a devastating citrus disease called citrus greening has spread across 38% of Brazil's orange trees. This disease is notorious for turning once thriving groves into fields of barren trees, making an already dire situation that much worse. If Brazil is struggling, you might think Florida could help lighten the load. After all, Florida has historically been the second largest orange-producing region in the world. Unfortunately, Florida's once thriving orange industry is also in a steep decline. Over the last 2 decades, orange production in Florida has plummeted by a jaw-dropping 92%. That's not a typo, minus 92%. The reasons are sadly all too familiar. Hurricanes like Milton ripped through the state this year, hitting key citrus counties hard just as farmers were ready to harvest. The result? Grapefruit-sized losses across the board. Of course, when supplies dwindle and demand stays steady, prices soar. Wholesale orange juice prices recently broke records, rocketing past $6,500 per ton. That's more than doubling last year's $3,000 per ton price tag. And when wholesale prices shoot up, you bet consumers are going to feel it at the grocery store. Retail prices for orange juice have already jumped by over 34% in some cases, leaving many families wondering if they'll have to take orange juice off the table or at least reserve it for special occasions. Major players in the industry, like Tropicana, are already warning that their profits are being squeezed tighter than the oranges in their factories. Many of these companies are passing the higher cost directly to consumers, leaving people to foot the bill. Some manufacturers are getting creative, looking into alternative solutions. For example, some are testing blends that use mandarin oranges as a substitute. While they may be innovating, these measures barely put a dent in the massive shortage problem happening at a global scale. And the ripple effects don't stop there. Countries like Australia, which heavily depend on Brazilian orange juice concentrate, are already seeing their costs spike by an estimated 20%. To battle steep prices, many Australian brands are starting to cut back on orange juice content in their products, blending it with cheaper fruit juices. Similar trends can be seen elsewhere, and with prices rising unabated, many consumers are expected to ditch orange juice altogether in favor of more affordable alternatives. Projections suggest demand for orange juice could shrink by as much as 25%, simply because people are being priced out. Here's the hard truth: don't expect orange juice prices to fall anytime soon. The combined effects of citrus greening disease and extreme weather are problems with no quick fixes. Experts are warning that these issues could keep orange juice production low and prices uncomfortably high for years to come. For those of us who love our morning glass of OJ, the coming months might just test how much we're willing to pay to keep it in our fridge. Number 7. Cooking oils. The cooking oil market is going through some dramatic changes, and if you're planning to stock up in January, here's why it's worth paying close attention. Around the globe, shifting agricultural practices, climate challenges, and fluctuating prices are impacting this crucial grocery item in fascinating ways. First, let's zoom in on the United States. Farmers are voicing their frustrations over a wave of imported used cooking oil, mostly coming in from China. You might be wondering why used cooking oil? It's because of its growing use in renewable energy, particularly as a feedstock for low-carbon fuels. These imported oils are much cheaper, and this influx is putting intense pressure on domestically produced oils. For example, soybean oil prices have taken a hit, despite efforts by American farmers to meet new climate-friendly fuel demands. This has spurred agricultural organizations to push for government policies that prioritize homegrown crops over imports. If you're a fan of supporting local, this is a story worth watching, as it could influence prices significantly in the months ahead. Shifting gears to India, another major player in the cooking oil market, farmers are facing the direct effects of rising temperatures. Crops like rapeseed and mustard, which are typically core ingredients for cooking oils, have proven to be more sensitive to heat. Because of this, farmers are increasingly planting crops like wheat and potatoes instead. While this strategy helps them cope with unpredictable weather, it also means rapeseed cultivation is expected to drop by a whopping 10% compared to last year. This decline might not sound like much, but it's enough to push India further toward importing more cooking oils like palm, soybean, and sunflower oils to meet domestic demands. For consumers, this could mean higher prices down the road, so keep your eye on those supermarket shelves. Over in the European Union, the story takes a slightly more optimistic turn. Spain, a key olive oil producer, is bouncing back after suffering from previous droughts. Experts are predicting a major production increase for 2024 and 2025, with olive oil output expected to hit around 2 million metric tons, an impressive 31% boost from last season. The spring rains have brought some much-needed relief, allowing farmers to get back on track and exceed the 5-year production average. But here's the twist: will consumers actually go back to olive oil? Over the past couple of years, sky-high prices forced many families to trade down to cheaper alternatives like sunflower oil. EU olive oil consumption dropped by 22% during that time. However, with this production rebound, prices are expected to relax, and consumption could increase by 7%. Meanwhile, in the United States, olive oil remains at record high prices, with some bottles going for over $12. That said, brands like Bertolli and Carbonell are optimistic, expecting prices to drop nearly 50% between November and January as Europe's harvests stabilize. If you're an olive oil fan, January might be the right time to invest in a bottle or two for your pantry. Now for something even more cutting edge. The industry is innovating with sustainable alternatives to traditional cooking oils. Imagine cooking with oils made from microalgae or fermentation processes. These are gaining attention not only for their environmental benefits but also their culinary versatility. Michelin-starred restaurants like 11 Madison Park and Blue Hill at Stone Barns are already incorporating these futuristic oils into their menus. Unlike traditional crops, these alternatives require fewer resources, but they are still pricey and harder to scale for everyday consumers. Even so, ongoing research and rave reviews suggest they might just be the oils of the future. Finally, back in India, companies like Patanjali Foods are cashing in on soaring demand for cooking oil. They reported a stunning 21% profit boost in the second quarter, largely riding on the success of their flagship product, Ruchi Gold Oil. Despite higher import duties, rural demand for cooking oil is thriving, outpacing urban areas. 8. Canned goods. Canned goods are a classic grocery item, and their importance is only growing as we step into January. These products have carved out a special place in our pantries, offering convenience, long shelf life, and cost-effectiveness. Whether it's a can of tomatoes for your pasta sauce or a ready-to-eat meal for a busy day, canned goods are an essential in households worldwide. But did you know the canned goods market is experiencing some major shifts that could impact availability and prices in the coming months? Here's why stocking up on these versatile items might be a smart move as we gear up for January. The global canned goods market has been steadily climbing in value as consumers prioritize practicality in their food choices. Experts project the market will surpass a whopping $109 billion by 2029, with a steady annual growth rate of over 4%. This boom is fueled by several key factors like urbanization, changing dietary habits, and advancements in canning technologies. Canned foods aren't just about necessity, they are about quality, too. They allow consumers to enjoy the nutritional benefits of fruits, vegetables, proteins, and even beverages without worrying about seasonality or spoilage. Plus, they're a lifesaver for meal prepping, making them a go-to pick for fast-paced lifestyles. Canned fruits and vegetables are a category you can't ignore. These staples provide reliable access to nutritious produce all year round, especially during the colder months when fresh options can be scarce or expensive. Products like canned corn, green beans, and peaches have become a lifeline for families looking to maintain balanced meals without breaking the bank. But it's not just fruits and veggies that are gaining traction. Canned protein products like fish, chicken, and even beans are growing increasingly popular. Their extended shelf life and ease of use in quick recipes make them a must-have, particularly for urban consumers always on the go. Another emerging trend driving demand for canned goods is the explosion in popularity of ready-to-eat meals. With more of us juggling work, family, and personal commitments, these handy options are a game-changer. Canned soups, stews, and complete meals offer the convenience of a hot dinner or a quick lunch with minimal prep. This has made them especially appealing to city dwellers looking for a no-fuss solution to meal planning. However, there are some challenges worth noting. Supply chain disruptions are creating a ripple effect in the canned goods industry. Labor shortages, logistical issues, and fluctuating demand are causing delays and price spikes, particularly for key materials like aluminum. Some regions are already experiencing shortages, making it even more crucial to stock up on your favorites before January prices potentially climb higher. On top of that, local canning industries are facing competition from cheaper imports, putting pressure on domestic farmers and manufacturers alike. This has raised sustainability concerns, with calls for more local support and government action increasing. Interestingly, the canned goods market isn't just about food anymore. New innovations are reshaping what's possible in this sector. Companies are venturing beyond traditional offerings, rolling out canned beverages like pre-mixed cocktails that deliver both convenience and novelty. These innovations are shaking up the market and opening doors to entirely new possibilities for canned products. Sustainability is also a big conversation in the industry. Manufacturers are working overtime to innovate with eco-friendly packaging solutions, meeting consumer expectations for products that are not just convenient but also environmentally responsible. From recycled aluminum to biodegradable alternatives, canned goods are undergoing a green transformation that could define their future. Despite the challenges of supply chain disruptions and heightened competition, the canned goods market remains resilient, and its expansion shows no signs of slowing down. These products are more than just a pantry staple, they're evolving alongside consumer needs and market trends. With January around the corner, now is the perfect time to stock up on canned goods and ensure your pantry is prepared for whatever the new year may bring. Conclusion. As we step into January, it's clear that a variety of grocery products will take center stage for their value, utility, and growing demand. From innovative oils and booming canned goods to other must-haves like alternative proteins and sustainable products, these items are becoming indispensable. Economic trends, supply chain dynamics, and shifting consumer habits are reshaping grocery preferences, making it essential to stay ahead of the curve. Stocking up on these key products now could save you both money and hassle in the coming months, ensuring your pantry is well prepared for the challenges and opportunities the new year will bring.